Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. The MB-339A and A pan is now available for DCS. It is an Italian trainer and light attack aircraft. We're going to look at setting up controls, cold start, taxi, takeoff, a bit of flight and landing. First, controls. Options. Controls. Okay, select the aircraft from the top left list. Note there are two separate sets of controls. We're going to be in the A version for today. First, categories. Axis controls. It will probably guess some controls for you. I would suggest clearing the first three columns. Stick, throttle and rudder pedals. You do that by clicking up there, clear category. Careful not to clear tracker art and mouse and whatever. Okay, very quickly, here we need to set, obviously, the joystick pitch. And it's up to you whether you want to add any curve or not. To add curve, click on axis tune. And you can add curve there. Roll, stick left and right obviously. Rudder, pedal left, pedal right. Rudder, I would suggest having a curvature of about 25 based on average rudder pedals, positive. Next, thrust, obviously your throttle lever. Wheel brakes. If you've got toe brakes, it's great to set these. It helps a lot when flying toe brake aircraft, and obviously you've got left and right there. And I would suggest zoom view as well on an axis, and I've got one on my throttle. Next, to the binary commands. Categories, bottom to top. Weapons. Fire guns, obviously I've got my trigger and fire weapons. I've got my trigger on the top of the stick for my fire weapons. There's always a chance that they change the names of these commands, so it's good to come into the categories and you can locate these commands if they've changed the name slightly. Next category, systems. Landing gear up and down, I just leave as G on the toggle. Flaps you'll want on your HOTAS, and I've got on my throttle lever a switch for flaps up and flaps down. Next, flight control. You will want to set your trim, nose up, nose down, roll left, roll right, and it's up to you if you want your rudder, and I've set them on a four-way switch on the top of my joystick. Also, you will need a single button for nose wheel steering. This is modal, you can turn it on and off. And air brake, I've set my air brake on and off to this one switch, which again is modal and toggleable. Note, request aircraft control if you're going to do multi-crew in it, Juliet as standard. Next. Communications, this might be useful if you're going to use the radios in milsim mode. COM1 push to talk and COM2 push to talk will probably be useful for you. Next, assists. If you're lazy like me and you don't want to bother starting it and stopping it, auto start and auto stop. And that's it. Super simple, plain, good fun. Welcome in. First, cold start. We are freshly spawned aircraft, so we do not have to do our checks. First, safety pins. So in front of the ejection lever there, click on the safety pin, pip. And on the side of the canopy there, you can just see the ring for the safety pin for the canopy ejection. Ping. Next, to start the engine. First, we have to ensure that our throttle lever is in stop. It is now, but just to make sure, I'm going to show it not in stop. And to put it in stop, right shift and end. Next, battery switch. Next, engine master switch. Next, push and hold the starter for 2 seconds. 1000, 2000. Next, wait until the tacho reaches 10%, which it has already, and move the throttle into idle. Closer look at that tacho. Next, JPT limiter switch. On. Next, wait until we reach about 40% on the tacho. Okay. And both generators on. Next, GPS. Initiate the GPS. On. Wait for the display. As it stands at the time of making this video, last stored, accept. And it starts the alignment. We can leave that and carry on. TACAN panel. TACAN. On. Transmit receive. BOR ILS. On. Comms. 2 radios. First, VHF UHF radio. Transmit, receive and guard, or whatever you want to have it on. UHF radio. Same deal. Next, O2 switch. Next, canopy demister is a useful one. On. Next, lights. Interior and exterior. So, interior. Exterior as required. And don't forget taxi lights. Next, backup ADI. We want to uncage it, so make sure it's not being pulled, and then adjust to make sure it's sitting on the line. Next, anti-skid. Normal. Next, canopy down. Left, control, and Charlie. Wait for the canopy light to go out. Flap and air brake indicators. Flap, up 1 notch. Air brake, off. Next, flight stick control lock. There. Freeze up the stick. Next, gun sight. Turn on. I'm going to go to Lima 2 and make sure the rheostat is maxed out. Next, parking brake. Very awkward. So, press once, then find a green spinny wheel, which can be very difficult. There. Then mouse scroll wheel forward. That is the parking brake off. Next, check for wheel chocks. Press F2 and look outside. No wheel chocks. If there were wheel chocks, press communications menu, ground crew, and you can change it there. Finally, and this is optional, pitot heat, probably best turn it on. You wouldn't do that in real life, obviously. Also, IFF is probably not modelled at the moment, but just in case at the moment, turn it on to normal mode. And that is our cold start complete. Now we will taxi. Okay guys, start taxiing from right to left please. I'm just going to show the viewers how to do it. To activate the nose wheel steering, we press nose wheel steering on off. It's modal and it will turn itself off. To steer the plane, you're going to use the rudder axis, which is that one you can see turning there. Boop, 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 boop. And to brake the plane, we have left and right wheel brake, which you can see those ones there in axes. That's going to be it basically. It's pretty hard to roll because the landing gear is pretty widely spaced, so you don't have to worry too much. Just don't go too fast. Wheel brakes on, nice and level, near enough. So for takeoff, the procedure is it will be brakes on fully and we'll hold our brakes. While holding our brakes, we will spool to full and wait for the engine to get full power. We'll then turn nose wheel steering off and take off with it off. Then brakes release. To steer, to keep us central on a runway, we'll use differential brakes, not the rudder. Then we will pull aft stick and rotate the aircraft 10 knots below the computed takeoff speed. The computed takeoff speed will depend on our weight. You can see max weight there, min weight here. So we're going to set our index, guys, to your computed weight. Mine's 120. Okay, once the bird's taken off and she's climbing, gear up and then flaps up between 100 and 175 knots. So everyone, brakes on, full power, wait for full spool. She'll hold because she's only got 4,000 pounds of thrust. Nose wheel steering off. Sequentially start going.
On roll.
Cap rolling.
Rotating.
On rotate.
Okay, using the steer, using the brakes.
Rotate.
Cap rotate. I'm coming past you, GP. Gear up. Flaps up. Check indicators. Airborne. Okay guys, let's talk about flying. She's very, very easy to fly and she's very forgiving. She's pretty underpowered, especially with stalls on. You're going to pretty much be full power most of the time. In terms of damage, as she is at the moment, you can damage her if you have heavy loadout on your aircraft and you pull a high instantaneous G. You can snap your wings off, so just be a little be careful. It can be frustrating to fly for an hour and then snap your wings off.
If you overspeed the aircraft in a dive, you will lose control of the flight control surfaces.
Oh, so that's compressibility, right? World War II style.
Yep.
Roll rate is not too bad. The boys are out to sea now. The plan for landing is we are going to come in and land on runway 13. We are going to approach to the initial point here, travel the upwind here, brake here, downwind here, extend here, base turn here, and land to threshold here. I will be in Simba's rear seat. Simba, please turn in to the initial point on the upwind side of the runway. We want to achieve 250 knots and 1,500 feet above ground level. Okay, Okay, guys, fall into trail.
Timbers on the upwind.
Alright, 2.
Alright, guys, we won't need any harsh dives or anything, because like I said, we'll extend plenty. Right, we're just going on the upwind now, viewers. We'll wait until the end of the runway before we brake. Halfway down the runway. Reaching the end. Air brake on and left pull into brake. I'm going to switch to 1,000 feet AGL. Entering downwind, speed is going to come all the way down to 140 knots and maintain. And air brake off. Once we're below 175, gear can come down. Maintain speed, maintain altitude. Good flying, everyone. Once gear is down and you've retrimmed, landing light on. Okay, guys, we're going to perform a left base turn, maintaining 130 knots. Once we're established on the base turn, full flaps down. Watch out for ballooning. Full flaps down. Maintain speed. On final, maintain 120 knots. Speed over threshold will be 110 knots, assuming a clean plane. Oh, there's my boys. That's why we do this, boys. First freaking time. Keeping on your speed, maintain 120. As we hit the threshold, we'll go to idle power. And threshold idle, looks like we're taking the left. Slight flare. And ease it down nicely. Let her roll. No wheel braking when we're formation. Okay, gentle wheel braking, start now. Well done, guys. Really, really good. Chuck with that.
Impressive landing.
Well done, guys. So, that was setting up the controls, a cold start procedure, the taxi procedure, all slimline down for Grim Reapers, obviously. Takeoff, a bit of flight, and landing. I hope that was useful, and see you later.